Namaste, namaste, and welcome to this video that is all about winding down from Moon Salutations. So some of these practices we will have experienced, or you will have experienced on the workshop that we did together on Sunday. But I just wanted to share a few things that I really like to do at the end of Moon Salutation practice, just to help my body feel a little bit more comfortable before relaxation. So you'll notice that I've set myself up quite close to the wall here, and that's because I'm mostly going to use the wall, but we're going to start by lying down onto our back. So Moon Salutation is all standing, and so it's really nice to counterpose that with actions and practices in the body that don't require it to be upright at all. So the first thing I'm going to do is just lie down gently onto my back. And I want to have enough room here, just checking I'm still on the screen. Yeah, absolutely. So enough room here to reach the arms as wide from the body as you like. You can make cactus arms if you haven't got a lot of space around you, just so the back of the body is nice and comfortable. And in the Moon Salutation, our feet spend a lot of time apart, our legs very extended. So we're going to cross the left leg over the right leg, and just keep the thighs moving as close together as possible, and then allow the knees to come down on the right side of the body. So we're just doing a little twist here. If you don't manage to, so I've got my left foot propping me up on the floor here, but if you don't manage to get down to something, simply put cushions or blocks underneath your right thigh to help support. If you wish to, you can turn to look over your left shoulder at the same time. And of course, you can have your arms extended or slightly lower if you prefer, if it's better for your shoulders. Holding here in this twisted position just for a few gentle deep breaths. And you can really be here for as long as it feels comfortable for your body. If for any reason this isn't comfortable, or it's not possible, don't worry, I'm going to show you an alternative in just a moment. So after a few rounds of deep, relaxing breaths, you can bring your head back to center, firm the belly muscles to bring yourself back to center, uncross your legs, and just take a little sway of the knees from side to side with the knees apart. When you're ready to practice to the other side, crossing the right leg over the left, trying to get the thighs crossed. You don't need to wrap the legs completely around each other, but it's nice to get the thighs as crossed as possible in an opposite action to what we've been used to in our Moon Salutation. And then allowing the knees to move to the left as we turn our heads to the right. And again, if you don't reach something that feels quite stable, just popping something underneath the outside of the left thigh. Trying to find a long, deep breath. Notice that you get that sensation of length across the outside of the right hip, which is quite nice. It's a place where we've been using lots of strong action. So now we're giving it a little bit of gentle length and opportunity to soften. It's helpful to close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. Helps us to internalize our experience, quieten the mind. When you're ready, you can bring your head back to center, firming your belly to bring your knees back to center, and then uncross the legs. So as an alternative to this really crossed action of the legs, you can simply bring the knees close-ish together. And in fact, the closer, the better, and sway the knees from side to side. So you don't need to do a full twist. You can build into it. It helps to use some tummy muscle action here to really control the knees to one side or the other. And after a few rotations, you might feel that you've built up enough room to be able to bring the knees as far into the posture as feels good to you. Again, using cushions or blocks underneath the right thigh, if you wish to. And you can hold with your head turned in the opposite direction, or it might be better to turn it the same direction of travel whatever works best for your body. Here we're trying to just hold for a few deep breaths. It's a slightly different feel to the previous pose. There are many variations of this pose, Jathara Parivrtti, and these are just two that I'm showing you today. When you're ready to come out, head to center first, firm in the belly muscles to bring the knees back to center. Give them a little sway from side to side for a few moments before making sure you're all straightened up and working to take the knees to the left as your head turns to the right. So it is helpful if you close your eyes. What you do in yoga is you allow the frontal, dog. I should try that again. The occipital lobe, where all of the information from your optic nerves goes. It reduces the information going there by having the eyes closed, which in turn allows a really large part of the brain in the occipital lobe, at the back of the brain, to be quietened, to be more relaxed, to be just in general calmer. When you're ready to come back to center, you can turn your head to the center first, firm the belly muscles and bring the knees back to center as well. And I'm just going to relax my arms down here because having them up is for a long time is just allows us to balance by bringing them down. But our final variation of Jathara Parivrtti is to take the feet apart and the knees apart and just simply sway the knees from side to side. I sometimes call this windscreen wipers because one knee goes forward, one knee goes to the side. It's a very lovely movement across the hips because you get a little bit of torsion through the pelvic girdle as well, which is nice just to release some of the effort of our practice. And because we're winding down, we want nice, slow, languid movements. You could even be slower than this if you wish to. So once we have done these twists, you can come up to sitting if you'd like to. You don't have to, but it's the easiest way to get right into the wall because that is where we're going to next. So sitting to one side of your mat and as close to the wall as possible, we're going to reach down with the side of the body that's closest to the floor and at the same time lengthen the legs up the wall. It doesn't matter how close you are to the wall as long as it feels comfortable, but if you like to, you can get really close. And this is a little bit of a drafty floor, so if you've got a drafty floor, you might like to fold your mat up against the edge of the wall or put in a blanket or something similar. To begin with, all we want to do is let the weight of the legs anchor the back of the pelvis into the floor. And we might give ourselves a little sort of wiggle and shuffle and fidget to find the right place for us. And it doesn't matter where your arms are, just put them somewhere that's comfy. Here we want to allow the feet that have been very, very active during our posture work to be nice and relaxed. So you can wiggle your toes, or you might like to do a few ankle circles here. It's really nice to let go of any effort or tension from the feet and go in both directions. If, like me, your feet and arms always talk together, you might like to do something with your wrists at the same time. When you're ready here, you can explore what feels like the right position for your feet. So it could be that you just stay with the feet here about hip width apart, closer together if you prefer the security of the legs being able to lean against each other. Or you can explore a little bit wider, a little bit wider, a little bit wider, until you come to the position that feels like the right position for you. So there's no obligation to do a wide leg variation at all, but I really enjoy it. When I've been doing lots of work with my legs, it provides length to the inner thighs, so the adductors. I have to think about that every time. And we can support the legs with our hands, or you could support perhaps with a couple of blocks or cushions if you wanted to. If you have no support on the legs, then don't hang out here for extended periods of time. A minute's probably fine, but much more than that's probably going to end up with you creating tension to be able to hold. If you wish to, you can focus on pressing the backs of the legs towards the wall. We don't ever want to hang out with the legs really super straight if we're in a loaded position. It's not that we don't ever want to do that. You have to do it with care. So just taking care here. And if you want to do a little bit of movement through the legs, maybe pointing the toes, flexing the feet, just exploring where you get that sense of length or stretch or release or whatever it might be. And when you're ready, you can help the legs back towards each other a little bit at a time until you've got them stacked over your hips again. And when you come to do relaxation after Moon Salutations, the legs up the wall, Viparita Karani pose is really useful, because the weight is off the legs are close together, the weight is into the pelvis, into the floor, the posterior chain in the body from hips or buttocks right up to the back of the head is feeling that sense of connection and grounding, so you can let go of some of the effort of practice and let your arms and shoulders and neck relax as well. But before you get to relaxing, just giving yourself a little bit of space from the wall, so inching a little bit away, and then taking the feet onto the wall. We're going to cross the right foot over the left thigh. So this is a really nice thing to do if it is available in your body. If it isn't, you're not really going to miss a great deal. It's just a nice thing to do if you can. So here we can play with the position of the left foot on the wall. So the lower down it comes, the closer the left thigh comes towards you, the more of a stretch you get round the right buttock. And we can play with the position of the right foot. So we can flex that heel and we can press the the right thigh. This is the right foot. Flex that heel, press the right thigh away as well. And then from here, wherever the position is that suits you, you can sway your left knee from side to side by pivoting on your heel. And at some point, you might like to come a little bit deeper into it, do a little bit more. You might like to give yourself a little bit more room so that you can get your left leg a bit more towards you and still enjoy that stretch. And you don't have to hold stretches static to gain the benefits. There is some benefit to static stretching, and it certainly is more beneficial after a practice than it is before a practice. But dynamic limbering or dynamic stretching is really useful as well. And I find it much more comfortable, much more beneficial to my body. When you're ready, you can come back to center and just uncross the legs. You might like to give the legs a little bit of a stretch, maybe an ankle roll or two. And then we'll practice the same on the other side. Notice the difference between the two legs. And when you're ready, crossing the left ankle over the right thigh. Excuse me. Playing with the position of the right foot, making sure that wherever you practice doesn't feel like you're overstretching before you move. So you want it to feel maybe like the beginnings of length while you work into it. We can press the left thigh, we can away, we can flex the left foot and gently rock from side to side. I may have got my lefts and rights muddled up, but the point is to do it the opposite way round. So just doing a nice gentle sway of the right knee from side to side. That's the one that's on the wall. So that your leg that's crossed over just simply follows. And you don't have to hold your foot or your ankle or your thigh away from you if you don't want to. You can just go with whatever movement comes naturally. If you wish to work a little deeper, you can also bend that foot a little bit deeper down, and it might be when you've done a little bit of movement here and given your body the opportunity to move into this space, that you can go a little deeper. Don't have to, it's entirely up to you. When you're ready, you can uncross the legs and lengthen the legs up the wall again, giving yourself a little roll of the ankles. Now, if I was to do my relaxation here, I might move my body closer to the wall, inching like an inchworm. And I really enjoy lengthening my arms over my head, but equally you could have the arms down to the sides or arms resting on the abdomen, whatever works for you. The important thing is to relax the feet. And as you look at your feet, you'll have noticed that they've become paler as the blood has drained out of the feet. So this position rests the venous return, the circulation of the blood from the extremities back to the heart in the legs. And in doing so, it provides the heart an opportunity to rest. Because your head is also at the same height as your heart is having to work less hard to pump blood into the brain, which is where lots of our blood goes. And whilst it is working hard to pump the blood into the legs, it's getting a lot of blood back, which may have been pooling a little bit in the legs, as it tends to when we're standing but not moving. So it's a really nice opportunity to give your heart a different experience than it normally has as well. Whenever you're ready to get up, you just simply bend your knees towards you, roll to one side, and as slowly as you need to, come up into sitting again. So if you want to spend an extended period of time at the wall with your legs up the wall, you might like a blanket wrapped over your legs, put a jumper on so that you feel nice and cozy for relaxation. But I hope that you've enjoyed this little winding down, and I'll see you again for another workshop hopefully, but maybe just another practice online too. Namaste.